We don't know if you've heard, but a certain individual broke YouTube's highest subscribers record last year. But a little birdie tells us, Twitter, he's still on the run for YouTube's first 100 million subscribers. Now that's the dream digit, isn't it? While the rest ponder his success and tactics, we're here to shed some light on the failures. They're always there. So let's dive into MrBeast's biggest flops over the years. First up, let's talk about MrBeast's video that got demonetized. Apparently, Jimmy MrBeast Donaldson's video, How I Gave Away $1 Million, was demonetized, and the YouTuber vented out his frustration on Twitter. LOL, it's still demonetized. The video made no money and underperformed. I feel so loved by the platform. You see, YouTube itself can demonetize your videos. What does that mean, you ask? Well, that simply translates to the fact that your video will not be able to earn from ads or any promotional content you may have on it. If your YouTube channel is demonetized, it will no longer be able to make money from advertisements on the site. No advertising means less revenue. So basically, a flop. Why would a YouTube channel or video get demonetized, you may ask? Let's see why. The following list of grounds for demonetization is taken from YouTube's community guidelines. It states that content with spam and dishonest tactics or fake interaction, like impersonation, or embedded links will not be making money. Or videos that hinder the safeguarding of children and/or inappropriate content like suicide and self-harm, and sensitive thumbnails are all examples of sensitive content which would lead to getting your video getting demonetized. Alright, we didn't think this would turn into YouTube 101, but now let's move on. His tweet received a response from a YouTube representative that said if he hasn't already, make an appeal. He said that although the system is susceptible to errors, it learns and develops with each manual evaluation. Their expert will check into it and respond to you via email. But as far as we know, that video is still demonetized. Tough luck, aren't we right? Next up, let's talk about MrBeast's race toward 100 million subscribers. For a very long time, our YouTuber friend here has been trying to get 100 million subscribers. After all, he's always experimenting with new approaches to create content that will enable him to realize his dream. Despite having a YouTube channel for years, Jimmy's big break came with the Squid Game parody video, which quickly racked up millions of views. And by quickly, we mean in less than 24 hours. It's interesting to note that it also smashed a number of YouTube records, the most notable of which was most views in under 24 hours. Since then, Jimmy has consistently worked on original projects, and his followers have witnessed some of his excellent work. That's all great, but now he has a problem on his hands. Up next, how big can one truly go? The thing about going big, and bigger is that how big you can go after a certain amount of time. MrBeast's craziest video ideas off the top of our heads are I ate a $70,000 golden pizza, which received 102 million views, and press this button to win $100,000, which ended up with 103 million views, and anything you can fit in the circle, I'll pay for, which ended up with 117 million views. So like we said, crazy, right? But the thing with this sort of, well, this niche is that there's still a limit. There's a line you can't cross with how big you can go, because you can't eat a golden pizza twice for a video. And then, when you're putting out mind-blowing content like that day after day, well, your audience gets desensitized. They'll just expect it then. A surprise isn't a surprise if you expect it, and something isn't that special if you're just so used to it by now. It's like, oh yeah, he does that. No big deal. So videos don't perform as well as they used to because they don't excite the viewers as much as they did back then. You see, the YouTube algorithm is tricky, to say the least. The videos creators post on their channels may or may not make money. If a video you put out there underperforms, meaning it earns less than what you invested in the making of the money, be it the cost of the production time or effort, the video could be considered a failure. Sounds risky, doesn't it? But it's just the cost of doing business. Coming up, let's shed some light on our YouTubers' not-so-great Twitter moments. The biggest philanthropist on YouTube hasn't avoided controversy entirely. As MrBeast's fan base was rapidly expanding, The Atlantic searched into his Twitter account and discovered several questionable comments made by the influencer. Most of his questionable remarks contained homophobic insults or made jokes about homosexuality. In his comments, he frequently used homophobic slurs towards people. In 2018, his Twitter bio stated, "Just because I'm gay doesn't imply I'm homosexual." Adding more to this was when The Atlantic attracted attention to a video he posted called Giving $10,000 to comments on this video, in which MrBeast appeared wearing a shirt that read, "I'm not gay, but $20 is $20. Given the times we're living in and just considering basic decency, not his best look, we'd say. MrBeast appeared to sidestep the question when asked to respond to his remarks. Instead, he said that he's just going to disregard it. He added that he's not the least bit disrespectful in whatever he does, and that he doesn't believe anyone is interested in this. Despite what he admitted to The Atlantic, MrBeast afterwards deleted all of his homophobic tweets and made the YouTube video they blasted private. "I want to make the world a better place before I die," reads his new Twitter bio. That suggests that MrBeast was aware of the potential for offense and has taken sincere steps to modify his online discourse. Also, a MrBeast spokeswoman said in 2021 that MrBeast has now grown up and evolved into a person who doesn't operate like that. He also pointed out that he was still a teen when the questionable tweets and comments were released. Well, the internet has a long memory, which is very rarely forgiving, but a guy who makes amends will always be better than someone who says no comments and carries on. Or at least, that's what we think. Up next, MrBeast has been accused of creating a toxic work environment. The New York Times ran an article about MrBeast in May 2021, sparking a fresh debate over how he treats his staff. MrBeast has brought on roughly 50 new staff to handle his thriving channel, and he has relocated his businesses into a warehouse to give everyone space to work. Even though a large number of people are applying to the companies for jobs, not everyone is enjoying their time on the team. Over the course of his employment with MrBeast, Matt Turner said that his manager regularly reprimanded him. He said that he was also told that nothing he did would be given credit for, in addition to verbal abuse. When he reportedly requested credit, he gave it to someone else. Another employee of MrBeast, Nate Anderson, posted a film on YouTube with the title "My Experience Editing for MrBeast" with the phrase "worst week of my life" in brackets. Anderson since then withdrew the video after receiving so many vile remarks and threats of physical violence and even death threats from the influencer's supporters. But it's also true that not all MrBeast employees told the Times that working with the YouTuber was a bad experience, which is important to note. According to author Josh Hyman, the group felt like a family and everyone on staff was a friend to all. The YouTuber himself has yet to make any comments on this issue. Now, let's talk about MrBeast's burger chain. The content creator currently receives millions of dollars from his many YouTube channels each month, and he uses those funds to fund the creation of new types of content, tech businesses creating new gaming controllers, and even a MrBeast burger-style fast food restaurant. MrBeast Burger is merely a chain in the same sense that it only uses ghost kitchens, which means that consumers can only order food online because the burgers are actually prepared in the kitchens of other restaurants that have already been established. Although it may seem like an odd strategy for a startup, the business started off well. MrBeast Burger reportedly debuted in 600 kitchens and garnered some excellent reviews in its first 2 weeks. The business was able to benefit from MrBeast's enormous fan base and the relatively cheap operating costs that came with being an online-only company. Unfortunately, not every customer was able to enjoy their ideal dinner, as patrons shared images of dining horror stories on Twitter, including burgers that were burned black and chicken strips that were delivered uncooked. Fans felt divided. It's true the company doesn't seem to have been destroyed by the online criticism and is still going strong, but the fiasco with his chain is still a hiccup in his journey. That's a wrap on this video. What do you think about his journey so far? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and press that bell icon to receive notifications whenever we post.